you ready for this?
Gonna be fun.
You will not stand in my way.
Frostborn. Hunger. This pleases me.
I do not fear you, mortal.
Your soul shall be mine.
Don't make me laugh.
Needs a brew?
Oh, I do.
Feel a shredding, baby. Let the battle begin.
So hello. Oh, that didn't work. Let's get it on the right scene. There we go. So hello and welcome to episode 13 of Trollin HGC, a Heroes of the Storm podcast focused on esports, a member of the Trolls GG podcast network. I'm your host, LiQuiUD, and I'm joined today, as usual, by Bahgz. How's it going, man?
Hey guys, what's going on? Doing well over here, man. A little wiped out. We went hiking earlier, but I'm doing well.
Cool. It's that curse of episode 13, man. It just keeps coming back and giving more and more. You know,
It's the curse of Kel'Thuzad. That's what
right?
we call it.
Tried to get to do this show last night. Internet went out. Tried to do it tonight. Hit the wrong scene to start with. I mean, what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do? So
Unlucky 13. We are cursed. It is a fact.
It is. But that's all right. We're here now. We're ready to go. We're gonna have a good time. You know, it's all good, right?
It's what we do.
Yeah. So lots of interesting stuff this weekend. Lots of stuff to go over. But before we get into that, I want to just take a moment, talk about patreon.com/trollsgg. That's our Patreon. We share that with the Nexus Trolls. We use all of the money that we get through either Patreon or, any other system that you have to send money to us. And we're going to use that to give swag away when we go to Blizzcon this year. So we share that with the Nexus Trolls, like I said. And this week, actually, we have a couple people to thank. We did get some subs on the Twitch channel. We got Ogre and Super Dave, so thank you both for subbing to our Trolls GG Twitch channel. And then also Super Dave just dropping a wad of cash on me. Last week he hits me up, hey man, if I want to give you guys some money, can I do so? I want you guys to have this for BlizzCon. Dropped it on me, and so Super Dave, thank you for that huge donation. And on top of that, I didn't get to talk to Daz, but Daz said Super Dave is the troll of the week, so kudos to you, sir, for also being the troll of the week.
That's awesome. You also almost called him Super Joe.
I know I did. I'm a hot mess, man. All right. So for those of you that have been watching for a while, I've been talking about how I'm going to move down into the basement and have like a nice studio. And yesterday the internet was out. I took the opportunity to move my desk downstairs. But with that comes like this weird feeling of like things aren't as they've been for the last, I don't know, however long. In fact, I can see like this weird glare coming off my glasses lenses. So I'm going to have to like look at adjusting that a little bit because I'm going to be in this spot for the next probably month while we do a bunch of other switches so I can get into like where we're building the studio. But so I'm a little off only because like things don't feel like they normally do, but that's okay. Because we have a good show to go over a bunch of stuff.
It's all right, man. It's not about it's all about the quality of the content. Right.
And that's what we have. So let's just jump right into some news, man. I don't know if you saw this tweet it was like retweeted, and I think I've seen like 100 Reddit threads about this. But Blizzard opened a esports arena in Orange County, specifically in LA, and I'm sure you actually probably talked about in the Weekly Blizz since both Hearthstone and Overwatch will be played there this year.
We did actually. So this news dropped this morning and or early this afternoon, and we recorded the Week of Blizz earlier. And Guaz and I actually went not into detail, but we did hash out our like hopes and dreams for what this could be used for, because the obvious thing that this show covers that's missing from this announcement is like how Heroes is going to integrate with this Blizzard venue.
Right. I am hopeful that they so here's the thing, right? Obviously the 2017 schedule is set for HGC, right? Like that's just an outright given. So I'm hoping that when the 2018 schedule comes out, maybe we'll see something a little that makes use of it. They'll never move the BlizzCon tournament there because they went
out of their way to say that like BlizzCon is where the big championships are going to be. The events that are at BlizzCon will continue to be at BlizzCon.
But you know what would be cool is like
at least this year
is like if Western Clash maybe is there next year or something like that, right?
It's funny you say that. So like you're reading my mind. I literally went out on a limb and said, I guarantee that next year's Western Clash, the first Western Clash in 2018, will be there. Because both Western Clashes were in Europe this year.
Right.
And now they have their own venue to host a Clash in NA, where they haven't hosted a Clash yet. Not to mention, they built a similar venue in Taiwan, where the Overwatch Premier Series is.
Yep.
And that's where the Eastern Clash was, this past Clash.
So I'm hoping that actually works out, because I will fly out to LA and I will go to Western Clash if that's where it is.
That is dedication,
right?
I don't think I can swing that, but I would definitely. I mean, we'll be there at BlizzCon.
right. No, absolutely. But you know me. I always got to go a little.
Listen,
bit.
man, you're 110%. That's I love that about you.
Right. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it works. All right. The other thing that we have here in our news segment, Glaurung did a little interview with Heroes of the Storm. And actually, I read it. It was actually a really good interview. It went over a lot of different things and how, basically his story getting from where he was, not even on a team at the time, and then jumping on a Team 8 and then Roll20, now Roll20, right? And I said that wrong. I don't want to indicate that he wasn't on a team before. He was definitely on a number of teams. But the time that they formed Team 8, he was not currently on a team. Yeah.
What's great about this article is if you're interested in a little more of the backstory of Glaurung, maybe you didn't follow the Heroes HGC scene until this year, and you're like, hey, this team that was not sponsored, just called this generic Team 8 name that wasn't that good, and now shot up the ladder, and I love the style of play they play, and their captain's Glaurung, and he's their shot caller. I'd like to know a little bit more about him. Well, that information is kind of hard to come by unless you've been following Heroes for a while, right?
Yeah.
This is a pretty insightful article. And for me, I knew he was on Tempo Storm and was, they released him from that team and they brought in Zuna to replace him. I know he was on COG forever, right? And I know he spent time on Denial. I didn't know that when he was on Tempo that he had the issues that he was having on that team, and the reason why they got rid of him was because he didn't get along with Dread at the time.
Right.
I didn't know that. That was a shocker to me. So
yeah, that was one of the things that shocked me. Just so often, especially now, right? We get caught up in the Dreadnought is the caster personality, and we don't know what it was like being on Tempo playing with Dread, right? So it's yeah, that was one of the things that kind of surprised me too, but was cool to read about, right? And I've been following HGC since obviously before it was HGC, but back probably a month or 2 months leading into BlizzCon 2015, where Cloud9 won. Yeah. So since that point, I've been following it really closely, and there were even things in there that I didn't know. So links in the show notes. Definitely give it a read if you have any interest in Roll20 or Glaurung himself. There's some interesting stuff in there. Just the other articles that Trent still hasn't released all of them yet. Check out those. I think I saw Buds was released last week.
Buds, I believe, is the most recent one.
Yeah. So definitely
really
check those out. The other thing, eSports Foundation, you linked this, and their charity league. I read a little bit about this, but not a ton. So what can you tell us?
Basically, esports.us is a charitable foundation. It's a not-for-profit. They are also the organization that owns the Team Freedom brand. So they own the Team Freedom Dota 2 team. They own the Team Freedom Heroes of the Storm team. And a portion of the proceeds that any of those teams ever win will go to charity. I don't know what that portion is, and I believe it's just it's a children's charity. I'm not 100% sure which one. that being said, they are hosting an in-house charity league, and it's mostly exhibitional. They have special guest players such as Jay Shreet, Fat94, streamers like Munefair, Horse Pants, Top GM Apex, as well as casters you'll see on Twitch all the time, like Inverum, Halloran, Hero Physio, former pros like Huge, Cavalier Guest, Skimmy from ANZ. All will be taking place, and I haven't had a chance to actually watch the stream. Feel bad about it, but it's been happening after Open Division, so it's pretty late at night.
Right.
Basically, the way I understand it, it's like an open rec league. And it's just like the teams are kind of like getting thrown together, and they're playing for whatever the prize pool may be, and it's all going to charity. So they're playing for charity, which is nice. And there's a button on the link in our show notes. Like, you click the link in our show notes, there's a button here that says donate now, and that'll head you in the right direction if you want to donate to the children. So that's what's going on. I just wanted to shed some light on it. I thought it was important.
I mean, charity is important to all of us, right? Like, it's one of the things I brought up. Heroes for Harvey last week. This is another good one. They have 4 charities currently that they're working with, and those are listed on their website. And they're good guys. They're looking to share where they can, and it's a cool event. So yeah, also check that out. Links in the show notes, or you can just go to esports.us. And find it pretty easily just on their website. Like, all about their charity league. And in fact, it's the top article on their website. You can't miss it. Definitely check those guys out. Results, man. Did you get a chance to watch? You said you were gonna watch some. Did you?
I watched a lot. Now, like, China mostly playing in the background while working on, say, my show notes here or other things around the house. But pretty much I got to hit all the premiere stuff.
Right.
So
I ended up watching all VODs. So my Monday, Tuesday was China, Korea, EU, NA, China, Korea, EU, NA, China. Like, that was the first 3 days this week. My boss thought I was crazy because I literally had it on all day while I was at work those days. Well, I wasn't at work Monday, but Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
I had to catch up, man. We were working on the house all weekend, so I wanted to watch games, and like 10 p.m. would roll around, and I'm like, man, I missed all the games today. This sucks. And I'd have to go watch all the VODs. So, but
the struggle is real.
Right?
Listen, I had to work all weekend too, and it's hard to binge watch all the VODs. So I'll cherry pick the really good matchups, the important matchups. And then those are the ones I really sit down and watch. And the other ones I'll have playing in the background. I try and keep an eye on it as I can.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. It feels weird to say that, but I feel like I'm doing something wrong because it's like I watch all of it, and maybe I'm just a masochist when it comes to this, but I literally watch all of it, right? So like, yeah. I legitimately started Monday when I turned on China, because China was on by the time I got up, right?
Yeah.
But I turned it on China and watched China, and then about the time China ended, I'm like, okay, let's go jump into Korea. And I literally just hit play on Korea, let that roll till it was done, went and found the EU. So I do it all on Twitch, right? Went and found the EU one and clicked play on the long one, the like 9-hour one. And
so it covers NA as well. It just goes.
Yeah, it just goes, right? And like, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I watched all of them. That's not to say like I was like, oh my God, like let me watch every single minute of this. There were times when I looked away from the monitor to work. There were times when I paused it, but it was like, I don't know.
Listen, don't feel bad. You're not alone. Monday, Tuesday, it's what was on the TV behind me back here all night, all day. And then by the time I like finished up with VODs, it was 9:00 and Open Division was starting. And right. I turned on Open Division. So it doesn't stop. And you know what happened? Heroes Hype's tonight. So like, it just doesn't end. It's always going to be on
every
night.
Last night, dude.
Was it?
Yes,
oh,
we're a day off. We're a day off because of what happened.
God. What did I do last night? I missed it.
I wanted to watch. Well, I wanted to do our show and then watch, right? But that just did not work out that way for me last night.
I was watching Heroes Hype live. I don't know what happened. I don't know. Drawing a blank.
The whole thing's just a mess for you, right? All right, well, let's jump into. We got some results to go over then. Because of that, let's jump into those. I'm actually looking something up real fast, but we have China doing Chinese things. CE and SPT got a little bit of a rocky start right in the beginning, little bit, and then they seem to realize, oh hey, we're number 1 and number 2. Like, what are we doing here? And seem to like buckle down and say, all right, yep, we're definitely 1 and 2. We're gonna. They
had a great week. CE went 6-0. They 2-0'd everyone they played this past week, and I think SPT went 5-1.
I think so. Yeah.
They both had a great week too. Yeah. They're both tied now in first place where they belong.
Right. Exactly.
Points. They have identical map records. I guess the big story, and it was kind of like the story last week too, is the 3 and 4 seed. Yep. With Beyond the Game and the 1. Those are 2 teams that came up via the relegation system. So they weren't in the league pre-clash. They are brand new to the Chinese HGC, and they are sitting in 3rd and 4th respectively. Beyond the Game is currently on top of the 1. They played each other last week. Beyond the Game won 2-0.
Yes. Makes me wonder about how that's going to work out for Hots Lady and RPG. You know? They're sitting in last place, like solidly last place. And
both those teams were in the league last year, if I remember correctly. So at least I know for a fact Hots Lady was. So it's like, it's a weird to see them struggle as much as they are.
Right.
So you would think that the top tier competitive play would give them an advantage over these new teams that are just coming, breaking into the scene. So
I would agree. All right. So article number 7. There's the blue. All right. Sorry, guys. I was just pulling up DB Smiley's article, and I'm like, why does this say Crucible or Brawl? It should say BlizzCon, but it's only the Chinese one, and it totally threw me for a loop there. Wow. Moving on. Yeah, we're in Korea. So that game, MVP Black versus Tempest. That was fun to watch.
MVP Black got their revenge, man.
Yes.
After losing to them in the clash, it seems like they're not happy.
No, it like, it's weird, right? Like, they just came out and they were like, yeah, we're just gonna do this. Like, we're not even messing around anymore. Like, good luck. We're just gonna destroy you. And they came out and they were like, all right, now granted, Tempest won a game.
Yep.
But it was game 3, so like they saved themselves from being 3-0'd. Yeah. And I don't know. It was MVP Black looks like they're out for blood. And next week they play Raven and L5. Now L5 is gonna be fun to watch just because I think L5 is really, really trying to keep up with MVP Black.
I mean, they won the clash. I mean, they beat MVP Black for what it's worth. Yeah, they're nipping on their heels. They've lost one match, and it was to MVP Black, I believe, in the beginning of this with the brand new roster. I think that team is continuing to gel, and it's like I think they play each other. MVP Black and L5 play each other in week 9, I want to say. Yeah. So like we get L5 versus Tempest again this coming week. But Tempest is kind of like, they've always been the third wheel in Korea, right? So
right. Well, and week 9 is going to be interesting across the board, right? Week 9 we have MVP Black, L5. I think that's when we have Roll20 GFE playing each other. Like that's going to be the week to see it. And then let's see. And then Blossom, I expected Blossom to beat Miracle.
So did I. I honestly am shocked. Blossoms looked a lot better in phase 2, and Miracle has looked a lot worse
Right.
in Phase 2. And that's reflected in the standings. Blossom is currently still and was ahead of Miracle in the standings. So like getting 3-0'd by Miracle was not something like they lost to L5 also this week 3-1. Completely understandable, right?
Right.
But getting 3-0'd by MVP Miracle, not at all.
That
didn't
surprised
see
me.
coming.
Nah, that surprised me all over the place. And then I think Ogre in chat has a really good point. Tempest is the Asian team LiQuiuD. And I think I can see that. I mean, especially when you consider that MVP Black and L5 are basically the Fnatic and Dignitas of Korea. So, you know, that it kind of fits. It kind of fits.
No, if only the rest of Korea reflected EU, that would be great.
Right, that would be awesome. All right, well, speaking of EU, I like this. This is a good comment by you. Dignitas regained, seems to regain form from the pre-clash stumble.
And they have. It's at least as far as I'm concerned, they're back, baby. Like
I don't know if I'm ready to quite go that far.
I'm all on board, man.
Clearly,
like I'm at the front of that train, pulling on the horn. Choo choo! Dignitas is back. That's a fact.
I will agree that having them in second place is probably the right place for them. I am not quite ready to say they're back. They definitely looked better, but okay. I mean, all right. Look. We both love BKB. TGG was never gonna win that. They might have taken a map off of Dignitas, but they were never going to win that. Team Expert has actually kind of been in a decline since they got back, right? Think about week 6. They lost to TGG. And that was the only game they played in week 6. This was week 7. They lost again to Dig. Closely, but lost. I feel like they're struggling since they've been back.
See, I wouldn't make the argument that they've taken a step back. Like losing to Dig 3-2, there's no shame in that. That series was really competitive. It was yes. Very back and forth. Like Dig won the first map, Expert won the next map, Dig won the third map, Expert won the fourth map, Dig won the fifth map. Like that was, and right. All the games were fairly close.
Right.
There's no shame in that.
No.
And this is the Dig that had Fnatic on their heels. They were up 2-1. So there's no shame in that. I would think but they did lose 3-0 to BKB and company. So right. I want to say that was like can we put like an asterisk on that? Like that's the exception.
So Expert was 3-2 to Good Guys. But or at least I'm looking at it. And
I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah. But I feel like you can't asterisk that. And that's why I think they're hitting it. They did poorly in Phase 1. Phase 2 rolls around. They started off the first part of Phase 2 like really super strong, right? They looked great. They went to Western Clash. They're doing great as a team. But now fatigue is setting in. Like, you can only play at the top of your game for so long before fatigue starts to set in, right?
Tell that to Fnatic.
Well, that's what I'm worried about. Actually, speaking of, that terrifies me because I honestly, truly believe you can only play at the top of your game for so long. And while Fnatic still looks good, do they have the wherewithal to make it all the way through BlizzCon playing at the rate they're playing? Like, it's a valid question. I think they do. But like at some point,
well, I understand what you're saying. It's not easy. Like the meta changes. Certain teams have certain styles that they like to play. Right. On top of that, after being on top for so long, there's always that regression or that I don't want to say returns to the mean, but like it's very hard. Like in professional sports, they talk about it all the time. Where like a team will win a championship. And it's very, very hard to maintain that drive and hunger and motivation. It's harder to win a second championship in a row than it is to win that first one.
Yes.
So I understand what you're saying. Now that Fnatic's on top, it's not only do they have to maintain that hunger and continue to play at such a high level, they have to hope that maybe the meta doesn't shift in a certain way, or a hero doesn't come out like Garage that turns R2D2 Roll20 into a monster team, which is kind of what happened. But you know what I mean? Like something that, like a wrench in the system that they didn't anticipate, even though that maybe the drive is there and the effort is still there.
Right.
There's also factors outside of that. That's a good point.
But that's my fear for Fnatic, as well as, like, I wonder if Team Expert isn't running into that problem right now. Like, I worry that playing that high for that long, like Fnatic is doing right now, like, at some point you're going to stumble. I don't want them to. I want Fnatic to keep winning. I want Fnatic to actually... I'm an NA guy. I want Fnatic to win Blizzcon. I think it's a perfect cap to the year that they've had. I just don't know if they can keep this pace up.
And my 28 years of life, it seems to, like, sometimes, like, when that storybook season is happening, it usually is what's going to happen. Like, I don't want to say that Fnatic's going to win BlizzCon, but it's like sometimes it's your year. And I think this year for Fnatic, it's their year. I don't want to, I'm not calling it now. It's too soon for that, but it might be their year. They just look phenomenal in the most competitive region in Heroes. And I will say that more so than China or Korea or NA. EU is the most competitive.
I agree with everything you just said. All right, I want to hit the last couple points you had out here.
Yep.
Team LiQuiD, in spectacular fashion, lost 3-0 to Fnatic. That's
they got
a
stomped
given.
too, man.
They got spanked. I was watching that game going.
First series I queued up on VODs, and I was excited, and I didn't know who won or who lost it. I didn't look it up.
Okay.
They got stomped. I was disappointed.
They got spanked, buddy. But they currently sit in 6th place. Now, if you'd have told me about, let's see, not the Clash, but
even the midseason brawl,
that was going to happen.
They didn't even get to go to that. Like,
I wouldn't have believed you though. I would have been like, nah, man, Team LiQuID's fine. They're just struggling a little.
6th place? No way. Yeah, right. Like, there's just a little bit of a stumble.
They need to figure out what's going on, because something's off.
No, in their defense, and let's see if I can pull it up. I don't believe they have the easy part of their schedule. I believe is coming up. I think the toughest part's behind them. Let's see if I can pull this up real quick.
They have Tricked next. They have Playing Ducks. TGG, Dig again in week 9, and then
they took one off the chin from Zealots.
I don't know, man.
Got clobbered by Fnatic. All right, so they still got to play Expert and Dig. So you're right. No, it's taking one off the chin from Zealots early. I mean, you can understand losing to Fnatic, but losing to Zealots really hurt them, considering the rest of their schedule. Like, they could beat Tricked. I can see that. That's going to be a great matchup, by the way. We'll talk about that in a few. Let's see. Playing Ducks. Yeah, man. Good guys.
When we get to that, I got a prediction for you. But, all right.
I don't want to get too far ahead of it.
We're getting ahead
long
of
story
ourselves.
short, I was completely off base. The only hard matchup that got out of the way is Fnatic.
Right.
So it's still all uphill, and they're sitting in 6th place with a losing record. If you told me LiQuID would have had a losing record at any point in this year, I would have called you crazy.
Right.
I said, at worst, I see them in 3rd place in EU.
Mm-hmm.
So,
dude, it was Fnatic, Dig, LiQuID for a long time in EU, and now it's like, nope, see ya. Sorry, LiQuID, you're no good.
It's just the rest of the league caught up, and it's like they just haven't taken enough steps forward, which is a shame because they got the coach and they were doing well, and like you saw the tweets out there that were like, "Oh, thanks to our coach, we're doing better than we were before." You know, it's just
right. And then something happened. So, and then we have Trick, Zealots, and Expert all tied with 5-5 records right now.
For what it's worth, of those 3 that are tied with 5-5 records, Zealots absolutely got smoked by Expert this past weekend.
Yeah, they did.
So like Team Expert had a tough loss to Dig this weekend, but they also stomped the Zealots 3-0. So I mean, they're all tied with 5-5 records, but I think it's safe to say that Expert is in the top 3 in EU.
Yep, I would agree with that. All right, on to our lovely NA.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Roll20 continues to spank people. I mean, that's basically what they're doing right now.
Well, yeah.
Like, what do you even say at this point?
Roll20 is on a tear right now, and it's the Garage patch is certainly part of it, a big part of it. But I also, like I mentioned it last week, and I'll continue to say it this week. It seems like the team roles have started to, and the team identity has started to solidify, and it's a little more cohesive. I mean, everything looks good when you're winning, so I mean, take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
But I mean, 3-0'd superstars and lag force this weekend, teams they should beat. No, I mean, don't get me wrong, and teams that they should probably 3-0. Again, don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But they're 12-0 since the clash. The week
Right.
before, there was the 3-0 versus Team Freedom and Tempo. Now, for what it's worth, Lag Force played them really well. Like, I don't think, if I'm remembering correctly, and I didn't jot notes in my notebook this week, and I should have. It's something I usually do when it's live, because I can jot notes in between matches and stuff too. But Lag Force played them really competitively. Mr. Skills, actually, he's a follower of the show. He mentioned, he was tweeting at me about it online. It's just, they didn't get the wins that they needed, but again, Lag Force is looking better than they have. And
I mean,
again, of the other three teams that have played Roll20 so far this split since the clash, they played them the closest.
all right. I will agree that Lag Force looked a little better against Roll20 than other teams. Certainly than Team Freedom. But I still think Lag Force is, like, I really need them to lose Crucible, because I'm so sick of those guys. Oh my god, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I love HGC and I love NA, and I'm just not feeling Lag Force at all.
Listen, and I'm going to throw a little shade. Their true colors showed, and Lovely Hearthstone mentioned it in chat. My boys at Team Freedom smacked them around later in the week. So after they played Roll20 close, they faced Team Freedom later in the week, and Team Freedom 3-0'd them, and that was not close. That was like Naventic. That was like, this is an example I made a long time ago. Lag Force slash Naventic is like those DirecTV and cable commercials.
Yes.
And like their 3-0 loss against Roll20 was like the DirecTV version of Lag Force.
Right.
And then their loss against Team Freedom was like the cable version of Lag Force, which is what we were getting on the daily, by the way, for a while, until just recently.
So then the other thing we had is Tempo Storm splitting their matches, losing to Gale Force but taking down Space Station Gaming.
To me, this is like a pecking order is starting to develop in NA.
Okay.
That's what I see. I think things are starting to, like, teams are starting to beat the teams that maybe they should beat, and teams are starting to place in the standings closer to where they should get. We're going to talk about it in a little bit, but that's the way I look at that. Like, I got to watch Gale Force live, Gale Force versus Tempo live. They still look really good.
Okay.
So I don't know if you had any other thoughts on those. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, like, I struggle with Tempo Storm because, like, I want them to do well, and some of these people are great, but yeah, it's so frustrating. It's like, really, guys? Like, why? Like, I just don't, like, I don't get some of the decision making. I think that's where I struggle with Tempo Storm. Is I don't
Funny thing with Tempo, like, it's been the same roster for like ever now, and they just, like, they're constantly like role swapping. I think like Fury's back to being the main tank where Cattle played it for a little while. Like, it's just doing weird stuff, like Lag Force stuff, like Zuna, you know, and now Zuna's essentially the main tank for, and Beacon's the bruiser.
Right, which is like why?
Just weird stuff.
Why would you do that? Lovely Hearthstone did have a point that if Team Freedom wins out, they will end up as the #1 NA team.
Really?
Yes. I'm looking at the schedule, and I believe that is actually completely true. And there may actually be a chance for them to do that because they're facing Superstars next week. Now they have GFE next week. That's going to be a tough one to win, but possible. But then they have Space Station Gaming, and then they have Tempo Storm. So realistically, if they can get the win off GFE in week 8, they could have a good chance at ending up there. I definitely don't see them falling out of top 3. But yeah, if they win out,
if they beat GFE though, that would, and what if, I mean, yes, they would win out, but if GFE won out minus that one loss, that would only give GFE 2 losses, but both would be the Team Freedom. So does a tiebreaker work that way?
Point.
Because they would still be down 1 match in the loss column.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. It'd be interesting. Like that's the thing, right? We're getting closer and closer to where. I think
they would still be behind in that respect. They would be in second then because.
But even if they end up in second, that's guaranteed spot, right? It's the 3rd place spot you have to worry about going.
You're right. You have to win. You have to do the playoffs to acquire. Correct. Right. It's the race for the top 2.
Race for the top 2. All right. Because I know we keep drifting into the stuff we want to talk about. Let's jump into some international results here. Nomiya secured first place seeding in the ANZ playoffs, which happened at the end of the month, September 30th. That should actually be a pretty good tournament. I'm going to try and catch that one, not live, but on VOD.
That should be good. And Robodoba's on Darksided now, so there's there's going to be some new players on Nomiya. It's going to be interesting. Arcaner's not on Nomiya anymore either. I don't believe he's currently doing the EU thing, isn't he? I don't know if he's moved yet. Maybe he's still playing until then. I'm not 100% sure. Not even follow it that closely, but it is interesting. It's a different Nomiya. There are going to be different players on the team, and there's going to be former players somewhere else in the bracket.
But they're still Darksided. Right, Darksided left, but they're the former Nomiya is still doing well. So that's encouraging.
So it's going to be entertaining.
Over in Southeast Asia, the first team has qualified for BlizzCon 2017. Deadly Kittens will be coming back to another international tournament this year, and we will be there to see them.
It's their 3rd one in a row coming out of SEA. They're like the new powerhouse from down there, man.
Absolutely. Over in Taiwan, we have the qualifiers working right now. The semifinals coming up. I think the semifinals were last night. We need to go double check that because these were for last night, and then we didn't do the show last night.
Grand finals are happening tonight for a fact.
Yes. So check that out. Is it tonight or is it there tonight? God, the dateline messes with my head when it comes to talking about some of this.
The grand finals could be over already. That's a good point. Because it's in Taiwan. It's over. Grand finals are over, guys. They happened. We don't have them in the notes though, so apologize.
We will dig that up and try and get the notes updated for that. All right, jumping. Actually, I was gonna try and look it up real quick, but let me go over to. Actually,
I'll cover LATAM. You look it up.
Perfect.
I got you, man.
Thank you.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
There you go.
All right. In Latin America, the format's changed, so now there's going to be 2 round robin groups in the north and 2 round robin groups in the south. Group play for the north took place on the 5th and the 6th. I made these notes before that. Group play for the south will take place today and tomorrow. Started taking place today and will continue to take place tomorrow. From that, the top teams from both group stages will play in a sub-regional online September 9th and 10th. I'm assuming that's the top 2 from each group coming together to make a group of 8. From there, they will compete in a playoff to make a final 4, which will travel to Sao Paulo, Brazil, and compete in a LAN event on September 30th. The winner of said LAN event will go to BlizzCon 2017. How'd you make out, LiQuiuD?
I'm almost there. So damn you, Team LiQuiuD. They don't have the page is not up. Oh man, and all I can find is Taiwanese, and the what do you call it? Is not doing a good job of Chrome is not doing a good job of translating it. So
does it say happy birthday?
It's
more
pretty
or less,
bad.
Right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I was trying to see if I could find a back way around it. and look at like maybe Team Face Check and see how they did, but I'm not even finding a way to do it that way. So we will get those updated and we will get those ready for next week, I guess. And actually that's good because next week we'll have a number of them that we should be able to say like what teams have made it where and how that's going. So next week we will have some more international updates for everybody. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and, you know, Blizzard helped us out and they threw together a YouTube video with marquee matchups. We agree with most of these, but we're going to go ahead and go over the preview of this week as we enter week 8 of HGC.
Well, this is the perfect YouTube video for the preview section, so that works out.
Right? All right. So, looking at Friday, you updated this, right? Because I feel like I erased it.
I didn't. If you're talking about the YouTube video, I didn't.
No, not the YouTube video. The what's coming up this week.
No, this is up. This is me.
Right,
I typed
perfect.
it all in. And
All
I
right,
even
perfect.
did the highlighting.
You did. I just want to make sure. All right. So Bahgz actually picked the right matches. I apologize. I'm still a little not quite with it. It's been one of those weeks. But we have Tricked and Team LiQuiuD going at it. 12 o'clock Eastern on Friday. That should be a great game. I'm going to have to actually catch that one on VOD because I'm going to be at a work meeting and not able to check it out. But that should be a great game. And then jumping.
That's going to be huge.
Right?
Like if LiQuiuD doesn't win that,
they're done basically.
I mean, they have the playoffs. Everyone's got a shot in the playoffs. They're going to. I'd imagine they're still going to qualify for the playoffs because it's
Right.
the tops. So it's 2 through 6, or. You know what? The top 2 teams automatically go to Blizzcon. How are they doing the playoffs for this phase? It can't 3 through 6 is kind of
3
3, 4,
6.
5, 6.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 3 through 6. All right, so it's a 4-person bracket.
So
instead
5
of-
and 6 play, and then winner of that plays 4, and winner of that plays 3, and winner of that goes.
So, are they going to still do? I imagine they're still doing the step ladder bracket then.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Still step ladder.
3 through 6. Cool.
3 through
Go
6. All right. So then Saturday we have Tempest versus L5 at 5 a.m. Eastern. Good times, man. Get up early. Check out that game. That game will be great. Looking forward to that. Tempest has from time to time taken out L5 or at least taken maps off of them. That's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Another good example of DirecTV and cable versions of teams. So
Right.
like Tempest on their best days can win matches, like beat them 3-2, 3-1, beat MVP Black and L5. Like, and sometimes they just catch fire, and they won this summer championship last year. Like it's a mountain in the game.
Yep.
And it's also a team that when they're not playing at that level, that they are the 3rd best team in Korea.
Yeah, I agree.
So
yep. And then over to Sunday, we have 2 games that you've picked out here, and both of these should be good. 2 o'clock Eastern, we have Expert versus Fnatic. Now, I still think Fnatic's going to roll through, but that's going to be the game to watch. And then actually looking at the video, since the video just stopped, the other game that they picked is also the game that you have highlighted here, and that is 5 p.m. Eastern. We have GFE versus Team Freedom. Team Freedom having 2 games this week. Their Friday game should be interesting too against Superstar. Superstar's on a decline though. We tend to just pick the ones that are going to be like competitive as well to mention to you guys to watch. So Gale
have emphasis on like how the standings are going to shake out.
Right. Yeah. Like, look, Roll20, they have a game. It's going to give them points. But do you really want to see Roll20 versus Even in Death? Now, if you're me, you watch all the games, and that's great. If you're not me, though, and you're only trying to cherry pick your games, those are the games we try to mention here. In Gale Force eSports versus Team Freedom. Wow, Tempo Storm was on the screen for a minute there. That's going to be the game to watch on Sunday night at 5 p.m. Eastern. So, if you had to pick one game, if you were only going to watch one game this weekend, I'm going to try something new this week. What would it be?
Gale Force versus Team Freedom.
I'm torn. So first I'm torn between that. As an NA man, I'm torn between that. But I'm also really hoping Tempest can beat L5.
That would be awesome. I'm down with that.
So
so that's that. Those are the 2 matches you're torn between. If I had to be torn between any other matches, it'd probably be Tricked versus Team LiQuiuD. I know it's not like top tier competition, but it's this is like backs against the wall for Team LiQuiud. So that's all.
And then Rush Hot in chat said, Team Expert looks weak at the moment. I don't see them winning versus Fnatic. I will give you odds are pretty good that you're right. Fnatic is like unstoppable. And Expert, we covered this a little at the beginning of the show. I think Expert's on their decline. This is going to be the game that tells us whether that's true or not. If they put up a fight and do decent against Fnatic, even if they lose, Expert's not on their decline. If they roll over and get 3-0'd, I'm standing by my Team Expert's on the decline.
I'm going to respectfully disagree only because they got 3-0'd and 4-0'd at the Clash by Fnatic, and we're still the second best team in that tournament. What
if they lose to both Fnatic and Playing Ducks this weekend?
I would be in 100% agreement with you then.
Because I already think Playing Ducks is going to beat them, so but we'll see how that goes. Only time will tell. Look, this is like any other sport anywhere, right? We play the game to see who actually wins, not because of what paper says.
The expression is any given Sunday, and I believe in it wholeheartedly.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's jump over to some amateur scene stuff. You know, I care about the amateur scene, man. EU didn't have an open division, so we'll just real quick go through the standings. Number 1 in EU open division right now is Leftovers with 600 points. Bushido Esports is number 2 with 445. Run It Down, number 3 at 405. And Shizeisen at number 4 with 285. But then jumping over to NA, where we did have an open division competition this week. Notable absentee Flame is Lame was not signed up this week. I'll have to reach out to them. Maybe I can get some story why on that. I should have thought of that earlier. I probably could have actually found out instead of us speculating before we started. But jumping into the semifinals, we did have Heroes Hearth beating Team Numerix 2-0, and Donkeys R Us beating Imported Support also 2-0. Setting up a third place match between Team Numerix and Imported Support. Imported Support winning that one 2-1. And the final match for the win this week over in NA Open Division, Heroes Hearth dominating Donkeys R Us 2-0. It doesn't look like Heroes Hearth is going to be stopped. It looks like Crowan is like, bro, I'm getting back in HGC and nobody's stopping me.
He and BBJ were interviewed yesterday or 2 days ago on Heroes Hype Live. I didn't catch all of it, but I did catch that portion of it. And that as like an exact quote, like, he's like, because you know how Crowan is. He's like peace and love and like compassion. Yep. And he's like, and he literally on the show said like, listen, I'm all love and helping out everyone, but I'm getting back in HGC and I don't care whoever I got to beat and keep out and knock out and take their paychecks. Don't matter. I'm getting back in HGC. Literally what he said after Halloran was talking about he loves the Crucible because it means people fighting for the jobs. And like, but again, like Crowan's, like he said, he's just like, I don't care if I'm taking someone's job. I'm getting back in HGC.
Well, like, I think McIntyre actually feels that way too.
Yeah, like I mean,
right?
McIntyre, like he was like a little conflicted. Like he's like, do I go full-time streamer now, or do I like continue to like try and do this thing as like a pro gamer for Heroes? And like when he made his decision, man, he's all you got. It's like you got to be on all on board, and he is. Same
those guys actually. So here's the crazy thing, because I follow all of it, right? Hold on, I want to pull up the top NA standings. Hold on, before I say this, I want to make sure I say this right. Outside of the top 3, I would prefer to see Heroes Hearth. Heroes Hearth could replace any of place 4 through 8 in NA right now, and I would be happy. Tempo could go, Space Station could go, Superstars could go, Lag Force, Even in Death, any of them. I would even put Team Freedom in that list. I know we got some Team Freedom fans here, including you. I would take Heroes Hearth over any of those. Man. Well, that's my problem with Team Freedom, right? I mean, like, come on, they're donating to charity all the time, so I kind of don't want to see that happening, but I would 100%, as long as Gale Force and Roll20 stayed in, I would be happy as long as I got Heroes Hearth in there. We've talked about this on this show. I've talked about this on the Nexus Trolls. Crowan being removed from Gale Force, like, broke me. Like, I'm sorry. K1 is not that good. I mean, clearly they're doing well. So, like, obviously the team is meshing, and what do I know, right? Like, but I just like Crowan better. I just do. And McIntyre, I feel the same way. I feel like he got shafted with the whole Path and K1
like,
Pro are leaving, and he's like, well, what do I do?
In my opinion, even more so than Crowan, Mac got shafted. Like,
right.
It wasn't like he got removed. I mean, it's just like, I guess it wasn't even so much shafted as unlucky. Like, K1 and King Caffeine were leaving, and so there would have been 3 members of Beat Step still who did not have to go through the Crucible and would still be there. So they just had to pick up 2 players, which wouldn't have been an issue. But APM was like, if my buddies ain't playing, I'm not playing. I'm gonna go play Breakaway.
Right.
And like, and then iDream's like, oh, I'm getting out of this sinking ship, and he went to Lag Force, and like Max like left there holding the check. like what? So I feel terrible for him.
Rush Hots has a good question. Do I take them over skill wise or because I like them? The comments that I made before is strictly because I like them. If you want to get into skill, I think Heroes Hearth beats Even in Death, Lag Force, possibly Superstars, and possibly Space Station Gaming. I think the top 4, where they are right now, they're not getting enough. I don't think they're getting enough regular play to be able to compete in the top 4. But I definitely think they're like a 5th, 6th type team, especially if they can get into HGC.
Well, this is actually going to be a really great transition because I disagree a little bit. I think they're a better team than Even in Death. I think you can make the argument that maybe Donkeys R Us and Imported Support are a better team than Even in Death, and they just happen to be playing well on the right day at the right time to even have their spot. Now, we made our case that they should have their spot. They earned it.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that necessarily they were the best team to come out of Open Division. Let's face it, like LFM was probably the best team in Open Division. They showed that out with consistency throughout that Open Division season.
Yep.
But they didn't play their best when it mattered. So I'm going to respectfully disagree and say that I think they could be Even in Death. I'm actually confident they could be Even in Death. I don't think they could beat Lag Force, and I don't think they could beat Superstars. I think that, and not because it's like not so much as a talent thing, as much as it's like they haven't been together as long thing, and the teams that they may be scrimming against some of the teams in HGC, but for the most part, the competition that they're playing against is not of the quality of HGC for the most part.
That's the struggle, right? So
and they haven't been together as long. So
I will pseudo agree with you. I don't think Lag Force would cause them a problem. I think Lag Force they could beat, and I think Even in Death, like no questions asked, I think they could beat both of those.
Boy, Mr. Skills is going to be depressed when he hears that. He's a big Naventic / Lag Force fan.
I know he is, but he also knows how I feel about it. So
yeah.
So I think Superstars is in a weird place right now, and it kind of depends on who shows up that day. There's the Superstars team that does okay and respectable and deserves to be in a 5-6 position in HGCNA. Then there's the Superstars that plays like crap and does not deserve to be there. So I'm like stuck with this, like which one are we gonna get feeling? And honestly, I feel like more often than not, we see at least in recent time, we see the Superstars that's not as good, right? So
it's funny. I don't always quote this this guy because he's not really a fan favorite in the Heroes community. But Kenma probably said it best one time. It's probably about a month, maybe 2 months ago on Twitter. He felt that any team can beat any team in NA. It's just a matter of consistency. And the teams that are at the top, it's because they're more consistent.
Right.
Now, take that with a giant boulder-sized grain of salt because there's not a world that I want to live in where Even in Death is going to beat Gale Force. Like, that's just not going to happen. On their best day and on Gale Force's worst day, I don't see that happening.
Right.
I will say that if you broke it down into tiers, that's probably 100% true. Like, there's situations where Even in Death maybe on their actually it did happen. It already happened. Even in Death can beat Space Station Gaming on their best day.
Yes.
That happened.
Exactly.
That was the thing. And so if you break it into tiers and like Space Station can beat Gale Force bomb there. You know what I mean? If you break it into
Right.
tiers, yes. So it does come down to consistency.
Right.
And the teams that are more consistent seem to find their way to stay at the top of the table, and
Yes,
for good reason.
So, but to round out the amateur where we are, right? Heroes Hearth sitting in first place with 600 points. Donkeys R Us second place at 480. Imported Support third place at 435, and Flame is Lame at 335. So I think since we're already talking about amateur, I'm going to reorganize our discussion a little bit, and we're just going to go into the Crucible predictions. Because I mean, we're already discussing it, right? And like, I feel like the flow ends up being better. So I'm just let's go NA first. So NA, DB Smiley put out his new article, and we'll go more in depth after we talk about Crucible specifically. But even in death is 99.9% going to Crucible. I think it's 99.9%
I think
repeating.
it's greater than 99.9%. Like that's like
yeah, like they're going, right?
They're going.
So they're going. We know
they have a negative 21 map score.
Right.
Holy.
Exactly. And yeah, like they're definitely in Crucible. I think like the odds on them, like everything has to be perfect, and it's not going to be. They have to win out, and then a bunch of teams have to lose in order for them to get rescued from the Crucible. So I think like mathematically it's still possible, but like realistically they're going to the Crucible.
They're going. I feel bad. They got a lot of crap, and ultimately they're going to end up where
they still got paid too.
Yeah, I mean, good for them. It's I feel bad. Players like Homicidal, he deserves to be in the HGC. I hope I'm not going to even say if. I believe that they will be eliminated. And when they get knocked out of HGC and their spot gets taken, I hope they break up. I hope I'm not offending anyone that's listening. I would like to see Homicidal end up on an HGC team. His Illidan is something to behold. At least for NA.
Right. So I agree. So let's jump into Lag Force Superstars. Who do you think ends up is the second team in the Crucible?
Well, according to DB Smiley, Lag Force has the greater chance of that happening.
Yes.
60.9% versus Superstars 38.5%. But they have identical win-loss records at 3-7.
Yep.
And Lag Force just beat Superstars.
Yes.
Last week.
Yep. But they split the head-to-head. Because while Lag Force did beat Superstars this time, Superstars beat Lag Force last time.
Pre-clash, right. I'm going to go out on a limb.
Okay.
Let's actually, you know what? I'm going to be educated about this. Hold on. Bear with. Let's take a look at the record. Or not records. Let's take a look at the schedule here. All right. So I have Lag Force pulled up right now.
Yep.
Upcoming matches. Tempo Storm. That's a loss.
Right.
Gale Force. Probably also a loss.
Yep.
And even in death, that's a win. So they're 3-7. They're looking at 4-9.
Right.
All right. Now let's pivot over here. See if I can do this efficiently and easily enough for the audio listeners. I failed at something. All right. Now we're heading in the right direction. Bear with. Upcoming matches. Superstars have to face Team Freedom. Also a loss. They have to face Tempo Storm. Probably going to be a loss. Space Station Gaming could be very competitive, leaning towards Space Station Gaming in that one.
Okay.
And guess what? It gets worse.
Yep.
They also have to play Gale Force. So they have 4 matches left versus Lag Force's 3 matches left.
Yep.
How does that math out? They have the same record right now. I'm going to miss something.
Yeah, you had to.
Long story short, they're going to be the underdog in all 4 of their matches.
Yep.
So that's 4. That's like no wins for them. Let me see if I can. I'm going to pull up Lag Force again and see what I missed. Oh, Lag Force is 3-8.
Right.
DB Smiley's thing said 3-7.
He said 3-7. Right.
All right. So we found a typo in your article, DB. That's why. So that explains it. So 3-8. I said they were going to lose 2 more and win 1.
Yep.
So they're going to sit at 4-10. Superstars is going to be the underdog in all 4 of their matches. They have to play Space Station, Tempo, Team Freedom, and Gale Force.
Yep.
That could put them at 3-11.
Okay.
I think it's now. I know the percentage, and this was the gut feeling I was going with. Anyways, I know the percentage is leaning towards Lag Force in this scenario.
Yep.
I'm going Superstars though.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to see Lagif in the Crucible this split.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
I now that we've looked at the schedule, I
torn.
wanted to double check. I'm just basing it off of like part of it's like I'm going with my gut and the recency bias. To be fair, so like Lag Force is heading this way. They are playing a little bit better than they have been playing. They could completely go south. Don't get me wrong. I don't put anything past that team.
Right.
And Superstars has been playing poorly.
Right. Okay. Now, if you're Heroes Hearth, let's assume that that's what happens. If you're Heroes Hearth, who do you play?
Even in death. If you win that tournament, you pick even in death. That's
All right.
No questions asked. What I mean, if you're Heroes Hearth,
here's the
you
question.
win that tournament, who do you pick?
So here's why I think you pick Superstars or Lag Force.
Ooh. Okay.
Here's why. Okay. Even in death, scrims some teams that are in open division where Superstars and Lag Force do not.
I understand. So like they have even in death knows they're going to be in the Crucible. So they're playing teams in the open division because they want to be ready for it.
That's one
Correct?
way to look at it, yes.
And because of that, if you're playing chess and not checkers and you're thinking like Heroes Hearth, like I'm going to play these teams that aren't prepared.
Right.
Is that what you're implying?
Yes. So just an idea, just something to think about.
That's ballsy. I'm still picking even in death.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's jump over to EU because we're only going to cover NA and EU. So Good Guys is in a similar situation to Even in Death, even though they won 2 matches, where they're 99.9% going to Crucible. Looking at percentages and standardings, I think Playing Ducks is probably also going. I don't think Team LiQuiud is going to lose enough to save Playing Ducks from the Crucible.
Let me slide down here so we're on the same page. I don't want to jump back to NA. Did you say who you thought between Superstars and Lag Force?
I think Lag Force goes.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I could see both ways. I'm leaning towards Superstars, a little spicier take, so I had to dig through it.
You make some really good points. This is one of those times where I'm just going with I really want Lag Force out of the league more than like.
Listen, we're both on tape saying that we want that team to break up, and we want the players. Those are good players. We want them out of the league and to latch on to good teams. So
yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
That would. The talent on that team is so significant. I could see every single player on that team ending up on another HGC team, not ending up like Crone and Mac did.
Right.
Except for maybe B-Kid and iDream. And iDream's really good. It's just like,
right.
He's got a strong personality and it doesn't always mesh.
Ogre, I love the Sloth. I hate Lag Force so much. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm sorry. All right.
I thought it was a red panda. I didn't know it was a sloth.
Yeah, it's a sloth. All right. So
makes
EU.
sense. Lag Force.
EU, we have Playing Ducks and Good Guys going, right? I think we can both agree to that. Like they're going to the Crucible. Like the odds on Playing Ducks escaping is almost non-existent at this point.
I mean, there's a scenario where like Team LiQuiud could go, but it's not. I don't see it at all. And
right.
and DB Smiley's like percentages like completely back
Agree
that
with
up.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I believe last week, and we'll talk about this because we just talked about it. Last week, I believe you mentioned that you think that the EU Open Division has taken a big enough step forward that we could see 2 more new teams in the HGC.
I struggle with the second. I definitely think Leftovers, much like Heroes Hearth, has a chance of getting in. Whoever, I think Leftovers is in. Dude, I can't wait until we sit down and talk to Tetra about this, because I really think,
Spoiler alert.
right? I'm just gonna drop that, and I'm not gonna say anything more about it. We'll see what happens. We'll see what we hear from people listening to the show. I think Leftovers is in. I think it'll be interesting to see if Bushido or Run It Down or even Shizaisen can get in.
Who do you actually? That's a really good question. Who do you think I'm pretty much convinced Leftovers is gonna be
Leftovers is in. Like Leftovers, like Heroes Hearth, they're done. They're in.
They're going to one of the Crucibles, right? They're going to be a top 2 team coming out of the playoffs. And it's funny, we could have said the same thing for LFM, and look how that turned out.
That's true. That's a good point.
But definitely Leftovers, and I guess EU is so competitive. It's tough to say. And like Bushido came out like gangbusters, but they really have kind of like come back down to earth. Personally, like I understand how you can see Leftovers can make it in. They've kind of like taken a step forward. I don't remember. Are they one of the teams that picked up one of the guys from B Genius? Tank for the Win is on one of those teams, those top 4 teams. I just don't remember which.
90% sure it's yes, but I'm like double checking right now. I was already going to pull it up because I wanted to go look at Bushido for a minute too. No.
He's on Run It Down.
Yeah, he's on Run It Down.
He's on one of the top teams, but not that top team.
Yeah. No, all right. So Bushido actually has a solid team, right? The problem is Bushido has a solid team, Run It Down is a solid team, Shizaisen are solid teams, right? Like all 3 of those teams are solid. Tank for the Win.
Bushido is
Run It Down.
Is what 3/5 of the Spanish Armada, man.
Right. Well, but then if you go over to Shizaisen, right, like you got the Germans like coming out to play. Blade's on that team. Geralf is on that team.
I forgot about Blade. I forgot. Yeah.
Right.
He looked a little shaky in the one match I watched. But yes,
let's be honest, they're struggling a little bit. Shizaisen's struggling a little. They've gotten 2nd and 3rd in the last 2. But then Run It Down has also gotten 2nd and 3rd in the last 2 cups they've placed in. Bushido though has a 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd, and then obviously sitting at the top is Leftovers, which is why I think Leftovers isn't quite as good as Heroes Hearth when you look at the rankings. They have 4 3rd place finishes, a 2nd place finish, and 3 1st place finishes. But like they clearly look better than everybody else in Open Division consistently, right? So
they're the most consistent team, like we mentioned before.
Right.
They are consistently in the top 4.
Right.
Whereas Bushido was like they won the first couple of cups and then they like fell flat for a couple, and they've kind of worked their way back into it now. So
they have to keep the points, right? They have to keep earning the points so that they can make sure, because it's only the top 8 this time around in the playoffs instead of the top 16.
It's just like they got knocked out by like I don't know, like in the quarterfinals a couple times, or like in the second round once, some crazy like really early. It's just not, the consistency isn't really there. But yeah,
right. So I'm really torn between those. If you look at Bushido, Run It Down, and Shizaisen, I'm really torn. I think Shizaisen has the highest mountain to climb. I really think it comes down to Run It Down, and Bushido is the number 2 EU Open Division team. And I'm torn because Run It Down's talent looks great on paper, but Bushido,
they have actually 2 players from B Genius. They also have they have Unstable as well. Thank you, Rush House.
But like, so my struggle is that Bushido has won more, but they were like older 1st place finishes, right? If you look, like,
isn't that interesting how like it happened in both regions twice now, like
right
over the course of a cup season, the teams kind of like, I don't want to say roller coaster, but like things kind of like organically change. Like certain teams gel more and they start getting better results more consistently later in the Open Division season, and other teams, like Bushido started off hot, kind of falter.
Yeah. Well, and that's my problem right now. That's what I'm struggling with this picking the 2nd place team. Where if you look at the top, like the number 1 team in both NA and EU, it's consistently been Leftovers. It's consistently been Heroes Hearth, right? Heroes Hearth is outperforming Leftovers, but they're consistently the best team coming out of Open Division. So it'll be interesting to see. I think, gun to my head, if I have to pick one, I'm going to go with Bushido. But I think, any of the three could get that second place. And then I think I love BKB. He's my boy. I'd love to get him on the show. I think the good guys is going to have an uphill battle surviving past the Crucible.
Okay.
I think playing Ducks is looking like they're in a similar situation.
I made the same take. I'm going to make the same. I'm going to have the same take as I had last week when we briefly touched on it. I don't see either of those teams get knocked out. EU put two new teams in the HGC last split. I don't see it happening this split. Could be completely wrong. I just think that these are teams minus Shiisaisun.
Right.
These are teams and minus Bushido. These are teams that were in the open division, like Leftovers and Run It Down. They are veterans of the open division. They were there. They were there last season. They couldn't get it done last season. I don't see them getting it done against the good guys again this time around.
So that's what's interesting, and I'm not gonna go too far down the path, but what's interesting about that point is because of what happened and how TGG got in, right? That's one of the things that drove the changes to the open division playoff system. Yeah,
that's why they cut it down to 8 teams and made it harder to make it into the playoffs. But
that's why I think a team like TGG could get beaten by a Leftovers or a Bushido. I don't want to call it. Look, I don't want to call it a fluke. TGG, any given Sunday, right? TGG played and performed when they needed to win the playoffs and
they won in the Crucible too,
right?
Like it wasn't just
they
had
did
to win
the things they
well.
needed to. Same thing for Zealots. They won the games they needed to win. Although Zealots had been winning the entire Phase 1 Open Division, Zealots like truly had earned that like the whole way through the season. So you come down to that any given Sunday. Yeah, I completely agree with that. But I guess what I come back to is any given Sunday, you could see Leftovers take out TGG for the same reason.
Okay.
So that's where I'm stuck. I think TGG and Playing Ducks could get beat by either of those teams. I think they have, if it's a possibility, right? I'm not saying it's a 50-50 coin toss. I'm saying it's like a 65-35. I could see the EU teams getting replaced by more open division.
In favor of it actually happening?
No, in favor of TGG surviving and not happening, right?
Okay.
So I guess there's a 35% chance we'll see another open division team in EU. I think it's higher. I think we're closer to like a 50 to 55% chance we'll see an NA team, specifically Heroes Hearth in HGC.
I think it's going to flip-flop this team. Like first time around in NA, both teams failed to do it. And both EU teams were capable of doing it. I think it's going to flip-flop. I'm not necessarily sure we're going to see 2 new NA teams, but I definitely see Heroes Hearth, a team consisting of several former pros, making it, and 2 players from the best open division team last split, making it into the HGC. There is an argument to be made that if imported support can also make it to the Crucible again, that they might. Right. They were the better of the 2 Crucible participants. They performed better against Lag Force.
Right.
So,
I think and Rush Shots had a good point. TGG stomped Leftovers last season, which is true.
That's what I mean. Like it's
the any given Sunday, right? And Leftovers may not pick TGG. They may pick Playing Ducks instead, right? But I think the most important thing is, again, both Crucibles are going to be fun to watch. Like, we're not going to get...
While we're on the topic of that, they mentioned this on Heroes Hype Live. I keep referencing it. But Crucible should be on LAN, and now that they have a venue in LA, they should get those guys out there to play on LAN.
That would actually be ideal. Personally.
The playoffs should be on LAN too. Season 1 contenders, which is the open division version of what Overwatch for Overwatch.
Yep.
It currently plays just like the HGC. It's an online league.
Yep.
It's a tier below Overwatch, what Overwatch League will be.
Yep.
But it's essentially the feeder. It's the feeder system for Overwatch League, which is very much like the Open Division. And their playoffs are going to be played. It's going to for the grand opening of this new esports venue.
Right. That's
going to be played there. The playoffs are going to be played there. We should do Crucible and HGC playoffs there. They didn't announce it. Probably not going to happen this season. We should have talked about it before. But anyways,
No, it's a good point. And Crucible, if not the playoffs, definitely the Crucible should be there.
it's
I can
huge
understand the playoffs,
because
right?
we talked about this last Crucible. It's they have to pick their servers. They're worried about ping. Like they're playing for their jobs.
The struggle you have with doing the playoffs there. There's not nearly as much money in Heroes as there is in Overwatch. So flying 40 people out for playoffs, like, no. But the Crucible, I completely agree. The Crucible is doable. Blizzard, Crucible, in your building. Let's do it.
It's a big event, and it's the only one of its kind. I'm not 100% sure how the league relegation system works. I don't believe there's a Crucible, though. I think that just the bottom 2 teams just get demoted, period, and the top 2 teams from the feeder system just get promoted. I could be wrong.
Right.
But it's amazing. So.
No, it is. All right. So we have time to go over one of these two. Do you want to jump through the power rankings, or do you want to jump through playoff predictions on who?
They're kind of both the same thing.
All right.
So we'll do power rankings because what did we say? 3 through 6 go to the playoffs.
Yes.
So we'll do power rankings, and then you can kind of go from there.
All right.
Those will be our predictions.
Those will be our predictions. All right. So let's do it in the order that DB Smiley does here, and let's hit North America first.
All right.
So currently, Gale Force is obviously in number 1 position with 8-1, Roll20 at 8-3, and Team Freedom being on the bubble right now. So I think the first 2 are probably set, right? I don't see those 2.
Those I hear what you're saying. Those are you think those are the 2, the auto bid, BlizzCon auto bid,
right? Whether or not Roll20 or Gale Force is in the number 1 spot, like those two are the getting the auto bid. I think we can just both agree to that, right? The question is now, so current rankings, Team Freedom is 3, Tempo Storm is 4, Space Station Gaming is 5, and Superstars is 6. Who do you think gets the number 3 spot out of those rankings?
The third BlizzCon bid?
Yes.
Team Freedom. And it's a toss-up. It's a coin toss between them and Tempo Storm.
Okay.
And I might be a little biased. Probably a little biased. Maybe a little biased.
Probably a little bit. That's hard because now you have me torn. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm going to have to agree with you. I don't want to. I want to give it to Tempo Storm, but I think I have to agree with you there. Yeah. All right. Okay.
So you're going to lean towards you. So you're going to agree with. You're in agreement.
I am in agreement with you. It will be Team Freedom.
Okay.
And the number 3 spot there.
I'm going to give you my quick and dirty power rankings that differ slightly from the current standings, but for the most part agree with DB's ELO ratings. I think Roll20 is the number 1 team in NA right now. Personally, we don't really get to see that play out until they play Gale Force in week 9.
Week 9, right?
But I'm gonna say Roll20 is number 1, Gale Force number 2. Team Freedom and Tempo Storm are really close, and that kind of is reflected in the ELO ratings where Team Freedom sitting at 1520 and Tempo Storm sitting at 1490. I think it's a coin toss. It's probably like 50-50. It's really close, but I'm going to lean towards Team Freedom as the number 3 team in NA. Tempo Storm at number 4. Space Station, it's kind of like falling down to earth, no pun intended.
Right.
As the 5th team.
Yep.
But I think they're better than Superstars and Lag Force, and I think there's a considerable gap there.
Yes,
personally.
I would agree with that.
All right. I think that you could draw a line there, and then I'm going to lean towards Lag Force here, then Superstars, and obviously bringing up the rears even in depth. What do you got? What do you think?
I actually agree with all those picks. 100%. Roll20 is definitely number 1 in my opinion.
Okay.
100%. No questions asked. Gale Force and Team Freedom could bounce back and forth between the 2. But right now, I think Gale Force is playing better than Team Freedom. Tempo, I think, is probably where they belong in the number 4 spot. Space Station in the number 5 spot. Again, those two teams could interchange just any given Sunday. That stuff happens. The bottom 3 are definitely Superstars, Lag Force, and Even in Death. 100%. Yep, no questions asked. All right, let's jump over to Europe.
Yep.
So DB Smiley has it as Fnatic, Dig, Expert, Tricked, Zealots, Team LiQuiD, Playing Ducks, and Good Guys. I'm going to go ahead and say that I actually agree with all of his rankings in that order. I question Dignitas's ability to keep the number 2. They seem to have gotten through the rough patch.
EU's tough, man. So
yeah,
like obviously Fnatic's number 1, right? And then obviously the Good Guys last, and Playing Ducks 7th. It's a struggle from 2 down to 6.
Well, I think you have a similar situation like you do in NA. Dig, Expert could go either way. Just depends on if they can, like.
I'm leaning to me personally between those two.
Yep.
Leaning towards Dig.
I think so too, but I think
that's fair, right? They just beat Expert 3-2.
Right. But on any given day, I think Expert could flip that.
Look at their BlizzCon auto bid. I think that because of their win over Expert, they are on the fast track to automatically go into BlizzCon. That's great.
That is why that's that way. I think.
And what's incredible is because of LiQuiD's loss to Zealots.
Right.
0.7% chance of getting that auto bid. And they were they went to the Clash. They were the number 2 seed they ended up being.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Tricked Zealots, I think, could go either way, with Zealots improving and Tricked falling off a little bit.
Okay.
Right? So for the number 4 or 5 position, I think Tricked Zealots could change. I think LiQuiD is a solid 6 right now. I wish they were doing better, but
really?
Yeah. I don't think they can. Look, the schedule, I'm not looking at the schedule. The schedule may let LiQuiD escape 6 and swaps positions with Zealots, right?
No, I hear you. We're doing power rankings. These are based on the results that we have, not where we think they'll end up being, but based on what we've seen so far, the knowledge that we currently have.
I think Team LiQuiD in 6 is correct.
Okay.
Looking at the elo that he's assigned both Zealots and Team LiQuiD, it's the same. I think Zealots is actually
Tricked is only 5 points. Like that is
like those 3 could go either way, right? You could see either of them swapping back and forth. But I think Team LiQuiD is the worst of those 3, and I think Playing Ducks and Good Guys both deserve to be on the bottom, and will both have to fight to keep their spots.
I really want to put LiQuiD 4th, right? Like it's safe to say they've been passed by Expert. I can get on that train and ride it. But I just don't, and maybe it's just because like I'm just ingrained, like it's hard for me to fathom that roster that's been together. That is the most continuous roster in HGC, period. Longer than Tempo Storm in NA. You know what I mean?
Is it?
Like that, yeah.
I was just trying to think, because Tempo, because they were Misfits. And then, all right, I can probably agree with that.
And they were My Insanity before they were Misfits.
Before they were Misfits, right. All right, I can probably agree with that.
So it is hard to fathom.
Something's not working for them.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. So my heart wants to put them in 4th, but my brain is like, no, you can't. So here's what I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to put them in 5th. I'm going to say Zealots is still the 6th best team.
Okay.
Despite 3-0ing LiQuiD. Despite that,
okay.
I'm going to put them in 6th, and I'm going to put Tricked in 4th. I think that's fair.
Okay. But we can agree Playing Ducks, Good Guys are the bottom 2.
Correct. That's easy.
All right. Who makes it to BlizzCon in that 3rd spot? Is it Expert or is it Tricked?
I think it's Expert. I think the 3 teams, I do think that Expert is starting to step away from that middle of the road pack along with Dignitas. I know that they've been struggling, and if they struggle this week, we'll see. I guess if they struggle against playing Ducks, like you said, then
Right.
then what do I know? But I think it's expert. What do you think?
You know, part of me really wants to say Zealots right now.
Oh man, what a story!
Right?
I mean, they'd have to get sponsored. Then Mopsio wouldn't be asking Trent how to get sponsored.
Right? Like, so I like part of me
Is
really, really wants to say
I can write Trent's
Zealots.
articles for him. Make it to BlizzCon.
Right? So no, like really, I would love to see Zealots pull that off. That would be like the upset, like oh my god, that would be huge, right? But honestly, it's probably expert. There's a chance. That's what the playoffs are for. There's a chance Zealots could get there. I think it's probably expert. All right, let's jump over to Korea. So in Korea, we have MVP Black at 1, L5 at 2, Tempest at 3, Mighty at 4, Blossom at 5, MVP Miracle at 6, RRR at 7, and Raven at 8. I'm gonna do this one a little differently. I think the bottom 3 are the bottom 3, period. I think Miracle, RRR, and Raven are the bottom 3.
Interesting.
I don't think anything changes that.
So even though Miracle just 3-0'd Blossom, you think Blossom's still a better team than Miracle?
Yes. One weekend does not a season make, right?
I mean, that's a good point.
So I think the bottom 3 are set. I think Mighty and Blossom are probably where they belong at number 4 and number 5 respectively. Where it gets interesting is Black, L5, and Tempest. Black is on a tear. Black has been on a tear. They are 10-0. They are on a tear.
But they did not win the Eastern Clash.
Right. Well, and yes, you're right. But 10-0 in league play, and we're only looking at what we have right now. I think Black continues to hold that number 1 spot in Korea. As much as I want L5 to take that away, and as much as L5 seems to be settling in now after all the roster changes they had, I don't think they can take that away from Black. I wish they could. I don't think they can.
If we're looking at the top, I'm going to agree with you, kind of.
Okay.
We haven't gone over the middle yet, but I'll touch on the bottom real quick. I'll catch myself up. My
Yep.
power rankings up to yours.
Yep.
RR, peg them in for 7th. I'm fine with that. It's nice to see a team come from open division being better than a team that was already in the league. Raven, leave them in last. I don't even know if they won a match last split, but they didn't get knocked out in the Crucible, so they're still here. Leave them in last. Then RR. And I'm going to agree with you here. I'm going to say I want to put Miracle ahead of Blossom. I believe because the Miracle had the Miracle run in the playoffs before the midseason brawl. And they did. I just want to, but they also had a big roster change. I don't know. So we're going to leave Miracle here in 6th. Okay. I'm going to agree with you there. And then we'll put Blossom above them. Coming back to the top, I am going to disagree with you. I think L5's the better right now. I think L5's the better team than MVP Black, strictly because they beat him in the Clash, and the only time they lost is when that roster was fresh, like fresh. Like we just lost Noblesse,
right?
And they've settled in a little bit more now.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah,
exiting Korea on the road to BlizzCon, they're both in. We can both agree they're both in.
Yeah.
L5 and MVP Black, they're going to BlizzCon, period.
We will see them live, correct.
Yes. Who has the number 1 seed out of Korea for BlizzCon?
I guess it comes down to how the tiebreakers work, because I think, and it's early to say this. Well, it's not early to say this. It's 2 weeks away. I see L5 beating MVP Black in week 9. It's just like, I don't know if it's going to be handily or close, but I see them winning.
Week 9
is
going to be so hard for us to preview because every game is going to be highlighted. like every game is happening in week 9. That is like,
Yeah.
this is it. Like this is where the boys become men is like week 9, right? Like it's gonna be insanely good. So that's my struggle, right? MVP Black right now is clearly on a tear. L5 has always been my when Bacon was on the show, I'm like, dude, L5 is better than Black, and he goes on his Rich is God rant. Rich is God. I'm not disagreeing with that. Like, I can't wait. I honestly can't wait to see Kel'Thuzad in Rich's hands, like at a competition. It's gonna be insane. Like the stuff you can do with that is just crazy. I think KT will be banned the entire time, right?
That's about 2 weeks away, though. So we've
but with that said, I think L5 can beat them in week 9, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to put them into first place. I think MVP Black can hold on to their first place position, even with L5 beating them in week 9. Right? So, like,
just
look,
based on like map score.
yes, L5 is my Korean team.
Well, for what it's worth, I mean, MVP Black has 6 3-0s compared to L5's 5 3-0s.
Right.
They have one more 3-1. So however the tiebreakers work in that respect, then their map plus record is they're plus 26 on
Right.
on maps, whereas
so like,
L5's plus 17. So I guess they probably win the tiebreakers in that respect. So MVP Black, I mean, even if L5 wins, you're probably right. MVP Black's going to come out as the number 1. I'm just saying, in the here and now, I think L5's a better team.
Yes.
Right now.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
They were just weaker earlier in the season. That's all.
But here's the problem, right? L5, like there's a difference between who's the better team as it stands right now and who's going to maintain the first place position. First place position is staying with MVP Black. Even if they lose to Alpha, like weird shit would have to happen for MVP Black to lose that first place.
Right. I know, I agree. And I mean, L5, and it's not all downhill either for L5. L5 still has to play Tempest. MVP Black got that game behind him.
Right.
So.
Right. So.
All right, and then it's probably safe to say that Tempest is the third best team in Korea.
Yeah.
Mighty's the 4th.
Yeah.
Mighty's kind of looked weird. They've done some weird stuff. I was watching. I forget what they did. I should have wrote it down. I don't write stuff down this weekend. Mighty was doing something really weird in one of their matches. Forget who they were playing, but I just like, it makes you do one of those faces like, what?
Right. Like, what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah. So
now we have China, but we're not going to talk about China tonight only because they've played so little. I think China is going to be they're only
two. They're only 2 weeks in. Yeah,
right.
We're 3 weeks in on the other ones.
Right. So they're still feeling themselves out. I think we'll cover them more. Probably won't be next week because next week we'll be back on Wednesday night and we won't have the article to go over the Chinese power rankings yet. I'm still working on getting his system working on DB Smiley's system working for me so I can pull that stuff in myself and we can have it a day earlier. So I have hopes, man.
I hear you. I actually have I've got some brainstorms for the topic of the weeks next week.
Cool.
Topic of the week next week anyway. So some discussion topics to build the show around. So
awesome. Anything you want to add or cover before we end the show tonight?
Curveball wise?
Yeah, you always have one.
I do have one. I've got one this week. I just want to circle back to the eSports arena.
Okay.
Now, I know we're already an hour and a half into the show, but what do you like? We mentioned it. We touched the news points of it, but like,
yep.
Do you have any ideas like beyond the Crucible? Like I mentioned it in chat, and we've mentioned it on the show with Trent.
Yeah.
Do you think in 2018, HGC is going to be a fully LAN league? Like
no.
You think it'll still be an online league then?
Here's why. The players are geographically diverse. Just like even within like just Tempo Storm, they're geographically diverse. So it becomes a struggle to try and turn that into a LAN event, right?
I understand it's not easy. They would all have to move to LA, every single one of them.
Right.
And that's what they do for the LCS. Like I don't know.
But you know the difference? The amount of money those players are getting paid. I'm not trying to make it about the money, but like, dude, it's not cheap to live in California.
It's not about the money, but it's about the money. No, I know what you're saying.
Right? So like, yeah, it's great for LCS because they can do that. But then like,
I feel like they need to do it though, to take I know it's not easy. And there are a lot of barriers to entry. Is that the right expression?
Yeah,
a lot of barriers to
that's
entry
right, that's right.
to make that happen.
Yeah.
But like Trent said, like that gives airtime to the bottom tier teams. Like maybe it's baby steps. So maybe they see how the contenders playoffs work out down there, and they go from there. And maybe next year they do Crucible and playoffs.
That's what I'd like to see.
And then
right?
2019, maybe they make it a LAN league. They do baby steps.
So this is
because Heroes isn't league as far as moments. It's like a fraction of the size.
Well, and let's
be real.
That's one of the points that was going on in Twitch chat tonight. Like, how do we get more money into the game? Well, like I would love to see us get more money into the game, but the reality is, like until we get to a point where we can drive revenue into the game, larger orgs won't join. Until larger orgs join, we can't do gaming houses. Until we can, once we have gaming houses, then we can have people move to California. Like it's this chicken and egg scenario where we as the fans are like, man, we want the omelet now, right? And Blizzard's like, yeah, we want to give you the omelet, but dude, we're still trying to buy our chickens. Like, you know what I mean? Like
the biggest thing that could drive that is a bigger player base. It'll get more eyes watching it.
Yes.
I wish a bigger percentage of the already current player base watch the Heroes eSport. I think it's phenomenal. We do a show about it because we both agree that it's the best eSport on the market.
Right.
The reason why Overwatch's eSports scene is so popular, and don't get me wrong, I follow it and I watch it a little bit. But it's not nearly as entertaining to watch. It's just an extremely a obnoxiously popular game. So
right.
it just. You could be, even if it was a smaller percent of that player base that enjoyed the esports scene than Heroes, it's a smaller percent of a much bigger player base. Same thing with League.
Yes.
So that's why there's more money there because of that. I know the player base is going to drive what's going to happen. If they made it LAN, I don't know if they can. I don't know if it's feasible for them, but it would really, really be huge. It would be big, just like creating this league was big. And I think they did a great job creating a league to help the esports scene, and it's provided a lot of growth. And the compromise was making it an online league, so it's a little more affordable for everyone,
right,
and convenient. And it does have its drawbacks, but
I mean, I agree, right? Like we all want to see it grow.
If they have a venue in LA and they're using it for Overwatch League, they got a professional hero scene, league.
Maybe they can make something happen. It's just a question of what can they make, what can they bring in. So we'll have
all
to
right.
see.
So if you don't think they're going to do the entire season,
yep.
What do you think they're going to how do you think Heroes is going to utilize this venue, if at all?
Honestly, I don't think they will. I want them to. We've talked about ideas on how to do that. I don't think they will. I think they're going to continue to focus on using other large events, DreamHack, like DreamHack's everywhere all the time, right? You can do DreamHack Austin and still do Western Clash in the US.
Okay.
I'm going blank on the other not DreamHacks. Like for some reason, DreamHack is the only thing stuck in my head. But I think Blizzard
PAX is another example.
But I think Blizzard will continue to use gaming events that are already happening to host their Western Clash, their Eastern Clash, the mid-season brawl, things like that, because that's bringing eyeballs that wouldn't normally be.
That's true. That's adding a gaming convention. Right. That's a good point.
So I think there's
more room for more seating,
right,
as well,
and new seats, right, new eyeballs that may not be on your game. Like oh shit, what's this tournament going on here? Let me go check that out. Oh my god,
I
that's
don't know what's
amazing.
going on, but it's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I understand. That's what happened to my girlfriend. It's just like sat down at BlizzCon and she's like, I don't know what we're doing here, but she's like, it's kind of cool. Like, stuff's blowing up. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, it's awesome. Let me tell you about that. If they get enough coins, more stuff's gonna blow up because they're gonna give it to this ghost pirate and he's gonna blow up their base.
I
She's
miss
like,
that map so much being in the
I
rotation,
love that
dude.
map. I love that map.
So many people hate it, but I love that map.
Yeah, I'm in the minority on that one. Anyways, all right. So you don't see it being used at all. I see it. I see them. All right, I'm going to agree with you, and it's like so depressing.
Yes.
Because I feel like if they were going to use it as a LAN league for next year, it would get a test run with the playoffs. They would have announced like, not only will contenders playoffs be here, but the HGC playoffs will be played here. The HGC Crucible will be
something already about it.
correct.
Yeah.
There would have been an announcement. Now, obviously, I don't expect them to do like the Heroes Championship there. That's going to be on Blizzcon, which is great. But so I agree with you. I do expect them to host Heroes events there.
Yes.
I don't. Next year, I'm going to go with. I could see the Crucible or the playoffs being played there. Something smaller.
The Crucible makes sense. The Crucible, I absolutely think makes sense. I just don't know if they'll do it. I would love to see them do it. I don't think they will. Right, you're already sending other teams to an international event. Have your NA teams come to, California and do the event there. But we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah. My only complaint when they do the clashes and stuff at these gaming conventions is the convention dates are set in stone.
Yes.
And they have to build their schedule around it. That's why we have those weird 4 bye weeks in a row after the one clash in the first phase.
Oh, Ogre just hit something good.
I saw that.
Heroes of the Dorm there would actually work really well.
That might happen.
Yeah.
That could be it too. I guess we'll see. It's their venue. They can do what they want. I was saying this on the Weekly Blues. They can do whatever they want. It is their venue. They just didn't mention any heroes, and I wish they would have. That's all.
Well, that's what we care about, right?
But
that's why we do a show.
Hopes are high. I am. You tempered me a little bit because coming into and leaving the Weekly Blizz, I was like 100%. We are gonna have something in that venue. I don't know what, but it's gonna be something weird. Now, and then you're like, nah, I don't think it's gonna
Look,
happen.
I hope they do. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
All right, I am like way over there thinking it's gonna happen. I just don't know what. I'm still on that train. It's gonna.
That's fine. It's all well and good to be on that train.
I'm a little nervous. Ogre's mentioning in chat 450 person capacity seems like
it's nothing, right? Like what? Like
it does seem like nothing.
So even if they have it there, we're not gonna get that many in there. So yeah, it's okay. It's all right. We're gonna end tonight's show on a slightly downer note, but that's okay. Because we're leading up to BlizzCon, which is like super hypey. So thank you all for listening to Trollin HGC, a weekly podcast about Heroes of the Storm eSports, a member of the Trolls.gg podcast network. We stream live on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrollsGG, every week on Wednesday following the Nexus Trolls around 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, assuming the curse of the number 13 does not get us and take out my internet again. Bahgz, where can people find you?
People can follow me on the internets on Twitter at powerup_Bahgz, where I post pictures of my new dog. I retweet esports stuff, mostly almost exclusively Blizzard related, and with that a heavy emphasis on Heroes stuff. You can also watch me stream regularly on Twitch at twitch.tv/Bahgz. Gwaz and I have been doing some duo stuff. We tested out Destiny 2 the other night. We played a little Heroes. You probably could have watched me begrudgingly play Overwatch the other night. Strictly only played Soldier 76 because I just wanted to shoot stuff that night. Sometimes you gotta get that aggression out.
Right.
Shoot stuff. And that's where you can find me on the internet, man. Where can people find you?
So you can find me on Twitter. This is best bet at LiQuidGG, LiQiuDGG. I tweet a lot of Heroes stuff. I retweet a lot of Heroes stuff. I I am also, now that I'm in the basement and my wife is down here too, hopefully we'll be streaming some Heroes and some other games on twitch.tv/LiQuidGG, LiQiuDGG, just like my Twitter handle. Haven't been streaming a whole lot. I haven't been casting at all. I totally miss it, but that's okay. I'll probably just pick it up again with Chair League Season 5 next season. So yeah, that's the best place to find me, or find me here. I'm, obviously I'm here doing this show. I also do the Nexus Trolls, usually right before this show on Wednesday nights. So
I forgot to mention, I also do another show that I've mentioned a couple times already on this show. It's called The Weekly Blizz. You can find it on iTunes or other pod sources. We don't do a live show. We used to do YouTube. Bahgz is extremely busy, and he does all the editing. I just kind of show up and talk about Heroes, kind of like I do here. You can catch the audio version on iTunes and all the other pod sources. Sorry. Carry on, LiQuiud.
All right, so I also want to thank once again all of our Patreon supporters and Twitch subscribers. However you want to support the show, if you can support it, we would appreciate it. We use all of that support to purchase swag to give away at BlizzCon. Our Patreon is patreon.com/trollsgg. You can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you happen to find your podcasts online. You can also visit our website at www.trolls.gg to watch this and past shows, along with past video streams, which can also be found on our YouTube channel. If you're listening and you want to help us out, go hit our YouTube channel up and subscribe. We're trying to get over that 100 subscribers on YouTube. Not a lot of people get the show on YouTube, but we do want to name the channel Trolls GG just to make life easier on people looking. If you want to hang out with us and the Trolls community in-game, just type /join Trolls GG in-game, or you can join our Discord at trolls.gg/Discord. Finally, for announcements about the show and Heroes of the Storm eSports news, follow us on Twitter at Trollin HGC. If you need to get in touch with us, go ahead and DM us. They are open, or you can email us at trollin@trolls.gg. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.
Peace out.